Hey, what's up? It's Thursday, even though it's nearly the end of the year, and it means it's still time for an Etch Play weekly live show. There's one more, it's this one. We're squeezing it in for the end of the year. It's the 23rd of December, and I'm joined by two people today. It's a triple threat. I've got Dan Thomas. Say hello, Dan.
Hello, how are we doing?
And I've got Tyre. Say hello, Tyre.
Hey!
So, as ever on the Etch Play Weekly Live Show, we like to recap all the latest games industry news. We'll be doing that in just a second, covering off some of the biggest stories from the world of games. Then after that, it's Christmas, so we're doing whatever we want. We might try and play a game with you, if you're up for that. Say hello in the chat if you'd like to play along, and we'll see what we can get sorted out. We've got some party games that we might be able to play. And then stick around, because after that, we're going to be having a little chat about the future. We'll be looking ahead at 2022, and I guess just trying to figure out what does the future hold, What are we going to do? What's the industry going to look like in 2022? How's the marketing going to work? How's all that stuff going to work? We have the answers, or at least some imagined answers that we think might be correct, and we'll tell you all about them later in the show. Hello in the chat to Pete Keating. Thanks for tuning in. He says hello in all caps, so you know he's excited. Hello to Steve. Steve says Happy Christmas to all Etch and other viewers. Merry Christmas, Steve. We appreciate. He's off to the Unity Brewery for Xmas Essentials very soon, so we understand, Steve. You know that beer is very important. You don't have to stay for the whole show if you can't.
Smart choice.
Just don't forget to buy us some, yeah? There's a siren going past, which means that's just a classic Etch Play weekly live show staple, that there'll be a person driving past in an ambulance. Hopefully they're okay. But let's get into the news, shall we? Our first news story this week is about the Game Awards 2021, and they've announced that they set a new record of 85 million live streams, which is obviously growth. That's an increase of 2% year over year compared to last year's event. Broadcast was streamed to 30 digital networks globally, and Twitch accounted for 3.35 million viewers across channels and co-streams. Over on YouTube, the show amassed more than 1.75 million hours watched on its official stream, which was up 14% compared to 2020. And the show reported that 1.6 million tweets were about the event on Twitter, the most since its beginning in 2014. One last stat for you as well, as I'm rattling off the numbers. Audience voting for the show apparently grew to 27%, or over 27%, as in it grew by that much year over year, reaching 23.2 million votes in all categories. Dan and Tyre, I guess we'll come to you first, Dan. It's just another sign that the Game Awards continues to be a massive event, continues to be really important to the games industry calendar, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I think both the growth of the awards and the environment, so live streaming and just the video games industry in general, all kind of nicely wrapped up in those stats there. So yeah, well done, Jeff and crew. Very good showing,
Jeff. Tyre, anything to add? I mean, are you happy with the way the ceremony went down this year? Are you happy to see those numbers?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing to see these numbers growing year after year. I think it is probably in no small part due to the way that games have really had a lot of influence in our lives since COVID started. I think so many people have found a lot of comfort, a lot of entertainment, a lot of connectivity in them. And well done to them for keeping us entertained.
Well done indeed. And speaking of congratulations, our next news story is about Hades, which you may remember topped many Game of the Year lists last year, including featuring on our Games of the Year list. Stick around, by the way, if you're interested in Games of the Year, because next week we'll be premiering our Games of the Year list for 2021, and it's a very exciting list with lots of great games on it. But back to Hades. So Hades has become the first video game ever to win a Hugo Award. If you've never heard of the Hugos before, it's a science fiction award given out for writing. They have a number of categories. This is the first time they've ever given out a video game-based award. Hades was up against a few different nominees, including Animal Crossing New Horizons, Blaseball, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Spiritfarer, and The Last of Us Part 2. So the best video game category was added this year as a special one-time category, but it is being considered as a permanent part of the ceremony. So if there's good reception to this category, it might become a permanent part of the ceremony moving forwards, which would be a nice thing. The Hugo is very important in the novel world and in the TV and film world for science fiction. But yeah, it's incredible achievement, I guess, for Hades. Congratulations. I mean, no shortage of awards these guys have won now, the guys at Supergiant, especially for their writing. But Tyre, it's good to see it maybe cutting through, like extending beyond video games' traditional boundaries and reaching a wider audience in terms of people who appreciate good writing, right?
For sure, and I think it's so great to see the power of the narratives in video games being recognized, because it is a medium that can really take that narrative and get straight to your heartstrings, because it's so interactive and you really do feel like you're experiencing these stories in a way that you maybe can't with some of the more kind of traditional media types. So definitely well deserved for Hades. This has made me want to play it even more. I will definitely need to check it out over Christmas.
And now to someone who I think has played Hades, Dan.
Yes.
What do you make of this news story?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I was just having a quick look there, and the Hugo Awards have been going since the 1950s, so that's quite an impressive kind of classic award, and in a very specific niche as well. So the science fiction awards have been around for that long. It's really good to see, I guess, such a long-established institution opening up their eyes to the world of video games, and yeah, I thoroughly agree with their decision, and yeah, Hades is a great game. Nice to see it get that recognition, and like I say, they've won loads of awards, but it's nice to get something a little bit different, not just another games awards kind of thing. This is
but breaking new ground,
reaching. Yeah, exactly. It's good.
Okay, that's enough news. Let's try and play a game, shall we? I have no idea how well this is going to work, but what I'm going to try and do is switch the scene so that you can see just a little bit of some fibbage. And if you're playing along at home, you'll be able to use your phone to join this as well. At least that's the theory. Let's see if it's going to work. Stuff's happening.
Oh.
You can see fibbage. I probably should have set this up so that I was the first person in the room and not just whoever types fastest. But
and space
you live and learn.
A little bit in the way of the code, I think.
Yeah, can you?
Dan's face
is D the first character, or is there one before it?
It is DHOU if you would like to join and play along. There we go. I am first in. Success. So like I say, if you're playing along at home, you can play. You just go to jackbox.tv, type in the room code DHOU. I know it's the 23rd of December and the viewership is not massive today, so we might not get that many people. It might just be us three. Pete, if you're still watching, Steve, if you're still watching, come and play with us. We'll give it just a moment, just in case anyone does want to join. But in the meantime, let's talk about how to play Fibbage. So those of you who don't know, Fibbage is going to give you a question. It's going to be kind of a strange question along the lines of maybe QI, something like that. You know, it's a question with an unusual answer. And then you'll all be tasked with entering an answer. And the challenge is, can you write an answer that tricks other players into thinking your answer is correct? Does that make sense, Tyre? Tyre, you're looking like you're
yes,
thinking like
I
very
love QI. I'm so ready for this.
And you might like some of these. There we go. We've got Pete in. Should we go for it? I think Steve's probably going to be bailing to go to a brewery any second, and I don't blame him. So
let's go.
Let's get started.
Hi, I'm your host, Cookie, or as I'm called in Kansas City, Lars Thundercheeks. 4 players, huh? Well, let me check my calendar and see if I can fit this in. Yes, can do. Oh, and if anybody else wants to join, they can get in the audience at any time. Audience people can play along for their own personal scores and can like their favorite lie each question. Let's do this.
Round 1.
There we go. It's round 1.
This is round 1, and that means you get 500 points for everyone you fool with your made-up answer. And you'll get 1,000 for finding the truth. And you've got a defibrillator. Use it to remove all but one lie and the truth. And just 1 defibbing per game. Select the category.
Dan, I think you're first to choose our category.
Oh, right. Let's
No, that's okay. I've
Oh,
got
it's too
it.
slow. I was,
Okay, here's your first question.
I was checking out the actual
Artist
stream.
Yeah,
to-
you were zoned out.
Jerry created a provocative series of digital art pieces depicting various world and religious leaders. In each art piece, the leaders were blank. Now, use your
That's very
device to enter
highbrow.
a bluff that you think will fool the other players into thinking it's
Digital art.
true. If you get stuck, for half the points, you can use the Live For Me button and get a suggestion. Do it now.
I have turned on extended timers to give people in the chat, such as Pete, and actually you guys who are watching the stream, more time.
Okay, here are your
Oh yeah,
choices.
of course we've got
Find
the
truth
stream
and touch it
delay
on
to
your
contend
device.
with.
Some good answers there, very plausible answers.
Excuse me.
Bless you, Tyre. Is that what
There's
you
a
say
cough,
for
but
coughs?
thank you.
Is there a thing you can say for coughs?
There should be something.
All right, let's see what everybody picked.
Kissing. Was Tyre's lie? Tyre.
On that one.
Oh,
I'm
Tyre's
good at
got
this
all the
game.
points. Is this your first time playing, Tyre?
Yeah, never
Oh,
played
man.
this before. Oh, I
Here's
thought
something
maybe
you
it was
might be
true.
interested in.
Nobody got the right answer
It's
that
not
time.
my favorite art series.
I
thought
but
that
it's
was
definitely my
surely
number
a
2.
fake one.
And we're done.
Like those chameleons there.
There we go. Tyre's in the lead.
All right, pick a category.
Choosing the rap category.
Okay,
Something
here's
I
the
know
question.
innately about.
British rapper Big Daddy Bleach took his onstage persona to another level when midway through a rap battle he blank. Type in your lies now.
Love the music in this game. It's a great game to play with your family and friends over the Christmas period. And it works on Zoom.
Okay, take a look and find the truth.
Everyone's chosen their answers, but I think the timer runs out in full now because of the settings that I've got on. Usually it will just stop when people have answered. I think it's giving the audience time to
Okay,
join
let's
if they
take a
want
look.
to. Oh, Pete's done us. And Tyre's been got by Dan.
Oh.
Well, don't you feel foolish?
Oh, Pete.
We're bad at getting the right
Simply no
answers in
going
this
back
game.
to the simpler
It's
times
a
of Mom's
pig
spaghetti.
heart. How is that to do with his
And
persona?
nobody fell for this one.
I mean, he is the big daddy.
Dan and I had the same idea. That's why I thought it was the real one.
He thought I can't be wrong.
Oh, I also wrote drank bleach.
Did you? I read that as well.
Time to pick a
Tyre,
category.
you're picking the category on your phone.
Oh, my phone is locked. Oh no.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna run out.
I think I've done one.
Okay,
Yeah,
here's
you
the
did.
question.
Ah.
Fans of bizarre
Bizarre.
sporting events rejoice. On April 15th, 2015, the English town of Rugby hosted the very first international blank tournament. Write your lies now.
It was a lot easier than the movie one that we played.
Hurry up. Use a suggestion if you can't think of anything.
We haven't played a movie-themed one yet, Tyre. We're playing it over Christmas
Okay,
break.
here you go. Find
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
truth.
This is a lot easier than this future one.
This is a tough. All of these are very good.
So good. You guys are good at this game. I don't like it. I play games that I'm good at and you guys are bad at.
Bad to ask that I don't know what Gabadi is.
That's one of Ben J's favourite sports.
Okay, what did everyone pick?
Been legitimised.
I wasn't sure if that's how Quidditch is spelled.
Ah. Oh.
Gotcha, Pete. Yes.
There we go.
Officially
very
making
good.
bowling the second laziest sport.
It was the
And
year
that
I was
means-
like, 2015 is Segway's been around long enough to deserve their own sporting take.
Look who's taken the lead.
Oh.
Me.
Ah,
It's Gabadi.
Ask Ben.
some, yeah.
Now it's round two. We're
I know I had no
all
idea if that was
double.
how it was spelled.
And don't let that defibrillator sit unused. It disappears after round two.
So Pete
Select
googled
the
Quidditch,
category.
so maybe that is how it was spelled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
must
was. That's why I thought it was real.
be. It's spelled it right. It
what's
must
the
be true.
In 2004, the Diagram Prize for the oddest book title awarded the grand prize to a book called Bomb-Proof Your Blank. Input your lies now. Okay,
fact,
which
my,
one's the truth?
Best friend started the Quidditch League in Oxford University.
Oh, cool.
And,
Best friend's name isn't Harry by any chance?
No, I'm not going to say their name. They invited Emma Watson to play because she was there at the time, and she politely declined.
Yeah, I would too. Imagine you're Emma Watson and these guys from the internet are like, come and play Quidditch with us. Like,
All right, who picked what?
Fair play to them for reaching out.
I forgot to make a choice. Oh.
oh, Tyre.
No, but you're gonna win on lies. Oh.
Or,
And nobody picked any of
Bomb-proof
these other
your
lies.
horse. Bomb-proof your horse.
do you know that?
No, but it was an educated guess. Because I wrote baby, and that was the second most likely answer. I did like Budgie. I was tempted by Budgie, but then I thought,
All right, pick a
who would
category.
pick that?
Put
I'm
bomb.
picking the category. I
Okay,
really
here's the
hope this is about
question.
the Beastie Boys.
According to the Oxford English Dictionary,
Yes.
the Beastie Boys are credited with coining the term blank.
Do you know the answer to this then?
I don't know the
Lies
answer,
now.
but I love Beastie Boys trivia, so even if I get this wrong, I'm going to enjoy learning something about the Beastie Boys.
Okay, find the truth.
Pete's nitpicking Emma Watson as a choice for Quidditch.
Yeah, he says he never played Quidditch in the film either, so bizarre choice.
Yeah, what were they even thinking?
I don't know.
This is hard. See arguments for several of these.
This is difficult.
Pick something.
Someone's not choosing something. There you go.
Let's see what everybody selected.
Goat. You thought that the animals goat didn't exist until the Beastie Boys invented them.
No, the greatest of all time.
Yeah, you should have put P's on it, little things. Oh, Pete! Thank you for those points.
That can't be.
What?
Wow.
Look at what we have left. One single lonely,
like the
pitiful
hairstyle, I'm
lie.
guessing.
I mean, that's more likely than goat. Goat's been alive
Great,
for
it's all
thousands of
time.
years.
I'd like to say that my educated lie, it was actually LL Cool J is credited with inventing the term goat.
I
Select
don't
the
think you did. I think
category.
goats existed before LL Cool J.
Oh, Adam.
Oh, Adam.
Oh, Adam.
Okay, here's the question. The Credum Bank in Italy has a unique policy. In exchange for a cheap loan, they ask for blank from customers. Write your lies now.
Tricky one.
Hurry, hit the lie for me button if you can't think of something. All right, where's the truth?
Okay, someone can't spell Panasonic.
Do you know what? I actually Googled it, fixed it, but clearly the backspace didn't work.
Oh, Dan.
No, dear.
Tricky.
You can't be that one, though.
Yeah, busted.
I think I know what the answer to this is.
I do as well. Right, well,
Do you?
you see, you shouldn't say that before it's
Okay,
revealed,
let's take
but
a
I
look.
think I do. I think I've seen it on TV.
I think I've seen it on QI. Inky Pete.
Yeah.
You won't
Yeah.
believe how low the
Because Parmesan
interest
cheese is
rate
expensive, isn't it?
And the rest of these
Yeah,
lies
and it
didn't fool a
keeps
soul.
for a really long time, so it's, you know, you could hold on to it for years while you repay a loan.
Catching up.
Yeah, it's close
Pete
at the
isn't.
top. Pete's not. Yeah, Pete's at the bottom.
I
Final
appreciate
round,
the
guys.
consolation thumbs up, whoever
It's
that
We're
was.
about to
It's
enter
all to
the
play for,
final
'cause you get
fibbage.
triple points in
Just
this
one
round.
final question.
Triple points, Pete. You can have a comeback here.
Good luck. Take a look at your final fibbage question. The strange nickname of New Zealand's national basketball team. Input your lies now.
Even though they had a team.
Hurry up, use a suggestion if you can't think of anything.
No! Oh no!
Oh no, what has he done? Is he typoed?
I think so.
Okay, here are your choices.
I actually don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Oh, I know
it's
which
like
one
the-
I hope it is.
The answers are funny, and then it's like, oh, I think the funny ones have to be true. The others are bad.
All right, who picked what?
Wow.
I thought that was the most non-human.
Yeah.
Oh no way!
Yes!
I tried to give that bonus point. So
So did I.
Chose it because I was like, surely it has to be.
Tyre, you win!
Oh, there we go.
Way back from Thumbs Cup, thank you. And a chameleon.
Incredible,
Aw.
incredible scenes. Well done. We should continue with the rest of the show, I guess. Let me transition back. There you go. Well done, Tyre. You feel good about that?
Thank you. I do feel good about that, especially because I was really hoping that that last answer was going to be true. Because that made me happy.
Yeah, it was a great answer to finish on. Brilliant bit of Christmas trivia there. You can impress your friends and family over the Christmas dinner table with that. But let's talk about our discussion segment this week, which is looking ahead at 2022, talking about all the kind of trends and things that we expect to see in the year ahead and what they might mean for you guys as games consumers and as games creators, publishers, marketers. And I'm going to get the opinions of two experts, Dan Thomas and Tyre, about these news stories. So let's begin, shall we? Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Our first item then, our first bullet point for 2022 is just simply a crowded schedule. So you might have noticed, but a lot of games were delayed due to the pandemic over the last couple of years. Some games are still getting delayed now. But it seems that one big side effect of that is that 2022 seems absolutely stacked with games. The first 3 months of 2022 alone will currently feature Elden Ring, Gran Turismo 7, Rainbow Six Extraction, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Dying Light 2, the latest Destiny 2 expansion, and Horizon Forbidden West, among others. I mean, this creates a real challenge for marketers, right, Tyre? Like, what are people going to do about this? How are you going to stand out in such a crowded field?
I think honestly it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for anyone trying to come out in this space. And usually the first few months of the year, we don't see that much competition. So it's really changed the landscape of what we're used to. And I know from, I really, really feel for all my journalist friends and my PR friends who are working in the space, who are already trying to make space for the schedule for when all these games come out. It's a tough one. I think smaller games might even want to forgo that season completely and kind of look at the next few months if they're going to be competing with some of these big names.
Yeah. Dan, anything to add to that? What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting time, and I wonder if it is going to become just the norm going forward. Like, we already know we're well in excess of 200 games every week being released on Steam. Like, now there's just more of the bigger titles in this period, like, say, as a knock-on effect of perhaps the pandemic and various other factors. But the audiences are equally growing, so maybe there is space for this kind of velocity. But I completely agree with what Tyre's saying in terms of the games media and the PRs and the marketing teams. It's just going to be relentless. Like, you just aren't going to get a moment's breath from covering all of these games. Or if you're working in publishing, there's always going to be a title that you're working on, whereas perhaps there used to be busy times that maybe you'd get a little break in between. So there's going to need to be some changes in, I guess, working processes and team structures and things like that to accommodate it. But there's still a lot of games being bought and a lot of people playing games. So maybe we won't see record numbers per title, but there's going to be more than enough purchases to go around. But that battle for attention is going to be fierce.
Yeah, and Elden Ring is going to take all of it. Dan, I want to stick with you for this next one as well, because I think this is maybe a contentious issue, but that you've got some insight on, kind of from both sides. So the Metaverse continues to be a hot topic of discussion. VR is apparently here to stay now, and it's become a particular focus at Facebook, now known as Meta. We've talked about the Metaverse a lot on the show in the past and had guests on to talk about it as well, but I guess one of the big trends we're expecting to see is continued investment in this area, in the idea of social spaces, in the idea of online connectivity and enabling people to interact with, more parts of their body and their face, and, be in these 3D spaces in the same way that the web has maybe been in the past is part of the dream. What do you think we're going to see in the next year? Do you think it's going to be, obviously more money in it, but is there going to be a massive explosion of Metaverse projects in the next year? Or is it going to be a bit of a slower burn?
I think we'll see a lot of headlines around it. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of concrete implementations of kind of the dreams being sold around these things. That's not to say I don't think we'll get there or somewhere like that eventually, but I don't see that being a 2022 realization. But we'll certainly see headlines, investment. We'll see new swathes of interested parties. There's going to be, the next kind of gold rush will be diving on the kind of the metaverse, Web3, more and more of the kind of the blockchain things. Like it will dominate headlines, but in terms of actual kind of landscape changing experiences, I'm not going to be holding my breath to witness that in 2022. That's for sure.
And you mentioned Web3 there, so we might as well just continue straight into it. I mean, NFTs are such a hot topic at the moment. Like, they're either the savior of art or a hyper-capitalist nightmare, depending on who you ask. And games and NFTs have been combined on the fringes of gaming this year, but we're seeing a bit of a trend now towards blockchain experimentation within mainstream games. Things like Ubisoft's Ghost Recon, and recently we had the news story about Stalker 2, which they announced the plans and then they walked them back. NFT discourse, at least, isn't going anywhere, right? We still might not see any concrete implementation, but it's going to be definitely a hot topic for investors and for marketers, I guess, in terms of announcing what projects they're working on in the 12 months ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's another interesting one. I wouldn't care to try and predict what's going to happen there. I do think what is interesting is it's bringing new attention and new thinkers. Perhaps there's people who are taking on some of the opportunities that these technologies and the NFT space can bring, and perhaps less conditioned awareness of gaming business models, gaming stereotypes and genres and all these kinds of things. So that kind of, I guess, the blend of that enthusiasm, interest and new approaches might bring us some new ideas that can either be successes within themselves or may inspire some other changes sort of deeper within the games industry. But yeah, who knows is, I guess, my...
We know, Dan, that's what the show's about. No, I'm joking. Ty, I want to come to you about another point on our list here, which is about game subscriptions and streaming. So we've talked recently about, a lot actually, over the last 12 months about Game Pass and about the growth of Game Pass, about the success of Game Pass, for lack of a better word. It is doing very well. And we've also talked about the fact that Sony are reportedly working on a competitor, codenamed Spartacus. It seems like the Netflixification of games is likely to be a growing trend over the next 12 months as well, both in terms of the payment model and in terms of streaming as a potential method of delivery. Xbox obviously had a really strong year with Game Pass, Psychonauts 2, Age of Empires, Forza Horizon, Halo. They've been crushing it essentially, but I'm interested in your thoughts about how this might change. One, because it's maybe not going to be as unopposed as it has been until this point, but two, how we're going to potentially see games marketing change, because, in the same way that Netflix changed films and TV and Spotify has changed music, it's a different world to market in, right? When you're available on a service, the price points change, the barrier to entry changes. How do marketers maybe take advantage of that over the next 12 months, do you think?
For sure, and like you say, I'm a big fan of Game Pass. I think a lot of people are. The way it's kind of accessible in a lot more ways to players around the world is really great. And I think what I've seen and what I've heard from marketers working in this space is, there's sometimes a reluctance to utilize these services because studios, publishers sometimes feel that, these things might not pay off, they might not make as much money, etc. But what we see again and again is that being on Games Pass, being on one of these services, does amazing things for your game. It doesn't have negative impacts. It helps you sell more elsewhere, which I still don't quite understand, but just having that visibility on a platform like that can sometimes be that extra push that people might need to be like, oh, Games Pass is being advertised, this game, I don't have Games Pass, but I might try it somewhere else, or something along those lines. And I think it's only going to get more interesting as other big players come onto the board. I mean, Sony's Spartacus, we'll see what that kind of ends up being called. I think that's really good news for consumers and for fans of games, because it's hopefully going to make it so that they're being constantly improved on both sides, by Xbox, by Sony, so that they remain competitive, which just means that we'll get all the benefits as consumers and hopefully as marketers as the platform grows and improves and iterates. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how it happens, and I think we'll probably see more marketers utilizing this channel, because it seems like a great idea.
Yeah, Dan, I'm interested in your thoughts as well, because we know that, so, I mean, using Game Pass as an example, as something that's currently working for Microsoft, as far as we can tell, there's, 10 games a month they get added to Game Pass? If that number continues to grow, is there going to be a discoverability problem? Is it going to be too much on Game Pass for someone to meaningfully stand out without being drowned in a wave of other free games to play? Or included games to play, I guess, at no additional cost? What do you reckon?
I think, as a wider point, discoverability is going to be something that is going to need to improve, not just on Game Pass, but across the board. And yeah, absolutely, as the volume of titles available through subscription services, whether it's Game Pass or Spartacus or Netflix are offering their mobile games experiences now as well. The idea of finding the right games, and you've mentioned it before, like Game Pass in its current form enables you to maybe take more of a risk on a game that you wouldn't have perhaps thought, I'm gonna buy this, but it's just something that you might think, I wouldn't normally play this kind of game, but why not? And then if you discover those kinds of games, or the algorithms can learn the types of games that you like to experience, either at that kind of edge of your comfort zone, then I think there's a lot of potential there, particularly and across the board really, particularly for smaller games who might be struggling for that kind of attention and discoverability. So I think discoverability needs to become more sophisticated, and exactly as Ty said, it's like in the grand scheme of things, and there's a lot that can go wrong with the model, but if things carry on as they are, this idea of this uplift that you see by just having a presence on this, whilst it's a free to some extent, but the uplift you get by more people experiencing, sharing, talking about, discussing, threads on Reddit, social media posts, you get that extra wave of excitement and attention that does benefit you, and that can be for the current game, or just generally raise the profile of your studio for your next game or your DLC or whatever it is. So there's a lot of positives, and I think it's definitely time for Sony to get into the game, and I suspect we'll see others as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, our next point then is about, and this one's really focused around marketing, it's about short video being on the rise. So arguably this goes way beyond games, and it's just kind of part of a broader trend in social media towards short form video on things like TikTok and Instagram Reels. But it's starting to have a more noticeable effect on games communities, which have typically been highly engaged in long form video, like extended plays on Twitch or YouTube, for example. So the average length of a gaming video on YouTube is 30 to 45 minutes, just as a kind of benchmark for you there. And obviously streaming's not going anywhere, but there does seem to be a sort of new market for video game streamers, for lack of a better term, who don't necessarily stream 8 hours a day, but actually specialise in these kind of short clips. It really particularly suits speedrunners showing off exploits, or streamers who specialise in short bursts of extreme competitive skill, and also obviously streamers who trade in being comedic personalities, because that works well in short video form as well, we know, on things like TikTok. But it also, I guess, presents an opportunity for marketers. There are more influencers to work with in this space, but also an audience is getting increasingly receptive to short, snappily edited videos as a way to get to know your game. I mean, it could be a massive year for games on TikTok, right, Ty?
For sure, and I think we've seen this a lot in the last couple of years, especially with the rise of TikTok, where, like you say, there are whole communities on there that are built around influencers who don't have any YouTube content or any streaming. They just live on TikTok. A great example that I've seen is some of the most popular kind of gamer TikToks are all around Beat Saber, the VR game that's like a rhythm dancey game, I guess I would call it, where there are certain TikTokers in that space who have millions of followers, and all they do are those short clips of them playing Beat Saber, and people love it. They are the influencers of that space, and like I say, they don't really engage with the other platforms, the more traditional content creation platforms like YouTube and Twitch. And I think it's interesting that we're probably going to see not just a rise of current content creators using TikTok to create clips of their content, the same way that Twitch kind of has the functionality to do, but also just influencers who are just on TikTok and are just doing short form content, because it is a skill in itself, and I think it is something that some people are really capitalizing on at the moment.
Yeah. And Dan, I mean, whenever there's a new social network, it's always like a bit of a hesitancy, right? You're like, is this going to stick around? Is this a passing fad? But it seems like short video is probably here to stay, right? What do you reckon?
Absolutely, and I think we're still very much at the very kind of early doors of that kind of movement, and particularly in I think games has generally been fairly slow to get on board with this. It is like I say, it's a change of pace to what we're used to, and there's so much opportunity there, both within TikTok, which is just like still having meteoric rise, but that format which is now being adopted. We've got Instagram Reels, which I'm seeing like huge successes across all businesses, just people who are engaging that, getting that first mover advantage, just not necessarily conversion, but in terms of just engagement and viewership and just profile raising, hugely successful there. It's recently, the same format has recently been introduced on YouTube as well, and I'm seeing same things there. It's just, it's that we as an audience are getting conditioned into this is how we consume content, and it's about like just that super snappy short, okay, here's a few moments that will get your attention, and then you're in that rabbit hole of the next video, the next video, and the next video. And as all the platforms are adopting that style, there's just so much potential for, like I said, kind of the content creators, but also the games publishers and studios themselves to get in on some of that action, and the collaborations that come from it. We will definitely see a huge rise of that micro video content taking off in 2022. I've absolutely no doubt of that.
Thanks very much. I mean, that's our list. I want to ask both of you as well, and I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to think about it, what your video games New Year's resolutions are. What are going to be the things that you guys are going to try and do? The trends for Tyre and Dan in 2022. Tyre, I guess I'm going to come to you first. What's your resolution for 2022 in the game space? I don't care whether you're going to quit smoking or anything like that. Just tell us about games.
I think for me, it's going to be really about trying games that I wouldn't normally try. I think that's always been kind of my overall theme, is just always be a bit more open. But kind of outside of work, I do tend to stick to the same genres. I do tend to stick to the same games. I like replaying games. So I think for me, my New Year's resolution for 2022 is to try as many different things as I can, because I might find my new favorite game that way. And I think it's good. Horizons. Exactly. Probably still won't be going through horror games, but a few other genres I can definitely check out.
Yeah, for sure. And Dan, what about you? What's the 2022 hold in store for Dan Thomas?
That's a really good question. And my gut reaction is, I just want to make sure I play more and spend more time with games. But that's kind of that's one of those like, I'm going to exercise more and eat better.
I don't think it's quite the same as exercise.
Well, it's not as good for me, but it's one of those things that I can see myself looking back in a short while and being like, I didn't stick with that. Something that actually I do really want to do is, obviously we work with a lot of games companies, and I feel like I don't give their portfolios as much attention as I would like to, and that's really meaningful to me. So yeah, I'm going to be spending more time playing our clients' games over the next year, for sure. So
if you want us to play your game, what you got to do is you got to get in touch and get us to do some work for you.
Just if you want to get a video game sale, come and work with us.
Dan will play your game, but he will ask you for a key, so you won't make any money on it.
What about you, Adam? What's yours?
Oh, I mean, I'm already pretty happy with the way that I play games. I'm perfect as I am, but I think I would. Definitely, like Tyre said, continue to expand those horizons. I really enjoy discovering, and you'll find out more about this on our Games of the Year list, but games that really challenge my ideas about what games can even be, that really maybe push the boundaries of the art form. And I'm definitely paying attention to more articles about those sorts of games, checking them out, downloading the demos, trying them out, because I think there's a lot of gold there, and I'm really interested to see, to be on that cutting edge of where the industry can go, which I think is a really exciting space for people to operate in. So that'll be what I'm looking for.
Do you see yourselves having a staple of game? Like you've just recently been getting into Halo Infinite. Is there going to be a... This is the interesting thing, because we are getting more and more and more games, but also games are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and like more long-term engagement that they're looking for. So yeah, any that stand out to you that you'd like to perhaps have a more than a cursory glance at in 2022?
I know that the way that I'm playing games, and we talked about streaming just then and about subscription services, the way that I play games has been completely transformed by Game Pass, and there's so much now that I play on Game Pass, but also I forgive myself. You know, in the old days, you would buy a game for £40 or £50, wherever it was, and then you would play it for a bit and you'd be like, I don't really love it, but I've spent a lot of money on it, so I'm going to have to like keep playing it. Whereas now, I feel almost liberated to be like, I didn't spend money on this specifically, I can just move on. So it is, I do have that kind of ephemeral quality of playing lots of little bits of lots of things and not settling into one thing for a significant amount, but it's definitely still possible. Like I've sunk a lot of time into Forza Horizon 5, into Halo, like you say. Psychonauts 2 also had that effect on me this year, played a significant chunk of that, which I was really happy with. But yeah, I guess I'm excited to maybe see what Starfield's up to when that comes out next year. And yeah, it'd be interesting to... I think we'll do a little blog at some point maybe, what the games we're looking forward to. What about you, Ty?
For me, it's one thing that I've been trying to do a little bit more recently, and I think I will carry on into 2022, is finding and playing those old school gems that have inspired kind of my favorite games that I never go around to playing. So I recently played through Baldur's Gate 2 for the first time, which was really such an amazing look at kind of where all my favorite BioWare and Obsidian RPGs have come from, and there's a whole list of things that I want to experience, you know, some of the classics. I want to give Halo a try, I want to play a Mario game.
You can't say that on the show, Ty. You can't say you're going to play a Mario game for the first time on the Etch Play Weekly live show. That's not the kind
maybe
of
I'll even play a
content
Pokemon game for the first time. I mean, there's a lot of backlog. So I think for me that's going to be the case.
Ty's new game of 2022 is old games.
Basically. But also I've started Final Fantasy 14 this year. Didn't get too far in it before servers broke down. But I really want to explore that world. So I think that'll be the one that I will keep coming back to in 2022 while I try lots of different games from the decade of my birth.
I think that's a really, really interesting exercise to see at some point. Is like, what's your current favourite game? And then sort of trace it back to what was the defining game of that genre, and that's really, I really like that.
It's been amazing, honestly. I mean, I got kind of introduced into CRPGs with, I guess, a little bit Diablo. There's a little bit of a CRPG in Diablo, but mostly through Dragon Age Origins when that came out in 2009, I believe. And just going back, and I've gone kind of a weird way where I've played kind of Knights of the Old Republic and Jade Empire, and I've kind of worked my way backwards. But going all the way to the very beginning with Baldur's Gate has been absolutely... You can just see where the inspirations are. And obviously I would have preferred if I could have been one of those people who are like, I played Baldur's Gate when it came out. I think I was about 4, so that probably wouldn't have worked. But I can see those inspirations. And actually, I think the next one I might try is actually the original Fallouts. Because that's also a series that I'm a big fan of that has been around for a long, long time. Definitely worth trying.
Cool. We'll get your recommendations in chat. We want games for Tyre to play that have inspired the games that she knows and loves nowadays. And that's our show, basically. We're all out of time and all out of days left in the year. Working ones, anyway. You will find some more content from us. We are doing a roundup post tomorrow. It's mostly about what we're doing for Christmas, but you can check that out at etchuk.com/play tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon if you prefer. And over the Christmas break, we've got video content lined up for you. We've got a number of festive videos on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/etchplay. We've also got our Game of the Year, which comes out on the 30th of December, right at the end of the year, just in case any games come out on the 29th. We have to edit it last minute and say this was the best game by miles. You can check that out on YouTube or on the blog, and we'll be back in January with all the same stuff, with interviews, with guests, with gameplay, with discussion and opinions, and all the things that you've known to grow and love with the Etch Play YouTube and Twitch channels this year. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next year. Take care.
Merry holidays.
Bye.
I forgot to do the ending screen, so keep waving.
Oh.
Okay. It's done. And we're done for the year.
And that's a wrap.
That was lengthy.